Oh, you too.
Yeah, my wife's not happy. Told her when we went home the last board meeting, we'd come here and eat.
Happy State Day.
Yeah.
So we have everyone except for Mr. Johnson's spot. We're supposed to
You don't get the other one.
Okay, I have 28 minutes on this.
Yeah, what's,
This is,
I think it's gonna go that fast.
That's what I said.
I said you need.
I think 20.
Is there water?
Mayor Giles in the morning.
There you go.
Megan Hall.
I wish you'd do this closer to my house. It's not a Mesa, but would be appreciated.
No, not everybody thinks of everybody else. Just think about themselves. And I'm good at it.
You were gone for the last one.
At least that you're consistent.
Yeah, bad.
Was I on the last meeting?
Cool. Went to the Phoenix Open and I'm working it.
Because I wasn't here.
Where my shirt's from.
Mr. Covington.
So, they've got chairs there. Let's take them out to our place out there.
Yeah, we missed you.
And I said, let's just pick them up and go.
Substitute?
We missed you badly.
The other guy goes, no, let's ask. We asked, I said, no problem. Thank you very much.
We all ready? Can you guys online hear me?
Here on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
How track me, Monday, Tuesday.
All right, I'd like to call the regularly scheduled governing board meeting for East Valley Institute Technology to session. We'll begin. I'll ask Mr. Hart if he would lead us in the pledge.
Absolutely. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So the first item is our minutes from our last regular board meeting held on January 24, 2022. And I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion or corrections or omissions that anybody has detected? Okay, hearing none, Mrs. Boggs, will you conduct the vote, please?
Yes. Covington?
Aye.
Lane?
Aye.
Leadham?
Aye.
Luke? Aye. Boggs, I was not here, so I will be abstaining from that vote. Hart?
Aye.
Watkins?
Aye.
And Hobson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is a call to the public. Have we received any requests?
No, sir.
Okay. All righty, next items are consent agenda. All items will be considered as a group and will be approved with one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. I just want to make a little commentary, and we've kind of made it a point to do the range rather than vote each item. I think that's redundant with your language that we're, unless you want to pull an item, we just approve the consent agenda. Unless you feel uncomfortable doing that, and then do whatever you are comfortable with. So I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I move the approval of the items on the consent agenda A through I.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay.
I have a comment to make. I think there's a mistake in the approval of overnight travel. Registration fee for two of them is $3.99 and one is $5.99. And I probably would think, since I looked at the paperwork, that the other one should be $3.99. We should correct that.
I can address that.
Lori.
One is not a member of the organization and the registration is a bit higher.
That's why. Okay.
Yes,
Well, tell her she should join. It'd be cheaper.
I will.
Yeah, how much is the membership? Do you know?
I believe it's $129.
Maybe we should sign them up.
Absolutely.
At this point, maybe it's too late, so I think that's coming up, so.
Okay.
Maybe in the future, we'll ask him to go,
I'll let them know.
we'll look at the, it's not a lot of money, but it adds up. Okay, is there any further discussion with that item, Mr. Covington, or?
No, appreciate the explanation.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. We've discussed it. Mrs. Boggs, will you conduct the vote, please?
Yes. Covington?
Aye.
Lane?
All right.
Leadham?
Aye.
Luke? Aye. Boggs is an aye. Hart?
Aye.
Watkins?
Aye.
And Hobson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, that brings us to agenda item 6, the personnel. The administration have anything to say to those other than what's been presented?
No, sir, we don't.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the certified and classified personnel requests.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Mrs. Boggs, will you conduct the vote, please?
Covington?
Aye.
Lane?
Aye.
Leadham?
Aye.
Luke? Aye. Boggs is an aye. Hart?
Aye.
Watkins?
Aye.
Hobson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 7 is information discussion. We have a policy first read. Mr. Keble.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. The only policy that we're updating is GCO because it did not have the correct statutory definition of a continuing teacher. And I missed that in June 2020 when we fixed it in all the other ones, but sometimes you overlook things. But
Further adjusting.
Edith noted the discrepancy and we fixed that. The rest of them are regulations or exhibits related to internet use. And most of those changes are just to delete references to vendors that we don't use anymore and to get rid of an exhibit that we don't, that's not part of the system that they use anymore. It's basically updated to do what we actually are doing. And that's it.
Should we perhaps be stating the policies that we're amending?
The one that would be amended would be GCO.
That covers both issues.
That's the only policy. The regulations and exhibits don't have to be, the changes have to be board approved, so that's just for information.
All right, thank you. Power Road construction, Power Campus construction update. Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, it's a pleasure to see you all tonight, and I just wanted to give you a couple quick updates on the Power Campus expansion. The most pressing issue is the issue of the traffic pattern. When you look at what we are responsible for out there, and I'm going to try to describe it without having charts, but when you pull on to our campus off Power Road, you're pulling on to Verona. And part of the requirement from the city of Mesa is to expand Verona in order to have more lanes available to queue students as they come out and are waiting to turn left in particular onto Power Road. That expansion has to meet the standards of the city of Mesa, which have been wonderful partners throughout this whole process. The expansion, though, was a little bit bigger than what initially we had anticipated. We were of the impression, or under the impression, that the improvements had to be done up until our current entrance into the campus. The city of Mesa is asking us to make those improvements further down to be incorporated for when we have phase 3 expansion. So that is going to come at a cost that's a bit greater than what we anticipated, and we're going to come back to you with those costs the next time, but I just wanted you to be aware of it. The second issue that we're working through is, that area out there is really unique because you have the city of Mesa, you have the town of Gilbert, and you have ASU. So you have 3 different municipalities that we have to partner with in order to make sure that we're meeting their expectations. And the second issue that we're working through is the challenge that we have with the city of Gilbert, the town of Gilbert. The town of Gilbert controls Power Road. So the city of Mesa controls Verona to Power Road. ASU has the land, and then Gilbert, the town of Gilbert, has Power Road. So we have worked well with the city of Mesa and are in a position to be able to do the improvements on Verona in a timely manner. The town of Gilbert is asking us to do some work on either Power Road to expand it in terms of turn lanes onto our campus, or the possibility of having a second entrance and exit onto that campus, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But both of those are issues that we have not necessarily agreed with based on the traffic study, but are issues that are ultimately going to have to get resolved. And so I want you to be aware that the Verona cost is going to be a bit more, and then our ability to meet the expectations of the town of Gilbert is going to cost a bit more than what we had expected before. The hope with it is that we actually have the ability to have the second entrance and second exit onto that campus. That would actually help the traffic pattern much better than just expanding Power Road. But we're going to come back with those costs next time. But I just wanted you to be aware that these are issues that we're working through in order to complete the expansion out there. The good thing is that a lot of these improvements that we're doing now, both on Verona and on Power, will satisfy the requirements for if and when we expand to the 3rd phase or the 4th phase, or somewhere at time when maybe none of us are here, the 5th phase, in order to be able to accommodate the growth that we expect to have on that campus. The second thing that I want you to be aware of is that we still are planning an open house for the aviation building. I know, Mr. Fleetham, you had been out there and had a tour, and I think it's an amazing facility. And so we're anxious to get you out there. We're going to work with McCarthy and CC, our PIO, to make sure that it's not just a, hey, everybody show up, that it's actually do justice. And so whether it's the latter part of March or the first part of April, just so you're aware, we'll have food trucks, we'll have dinner, we'll have the whole thing that's out there. But we do plan to have both a ribbon cutting for the aviation building as well as for the vet tech building and engineering building, which, by the way, are on schedule to be opened in August, which is exciting. You will see a bit later in the agenda a job order contract for the sim lab here at Maine, the sim labs here at Maine that Ms. Doolin will speak on in just a minute. But we're going to go out and do a job order contract for the sim lab out at Power, so that we can be in a position come August that the aviation building's open, the vet and engineering building is open, the Cosmo's remodeled, the health sciences remodeled, and we also have the simulation labs there, so we can meet the needs of students out on that sector of the CTED as equally as we can meet them here at the main campus. So just a couple of updates for you, and we'll come back next meeting with some more specifics on the dollar amount for both Verona and hopefully the town of Gilbert expectation as it relates to either Power Road or the second entrance exit on the south end of the campus.
Dr. Wilson, I had a question on the second entrance. Does the Phase 3 plan incorporate a second entrance now?
Great question. So yes, ultimately in the Phase 3, we would need that second entrance. And the truth of the matter is it's going to be helpful to us. We were just hoping to be able to cost towards the Phase 3, so we didn't have to bear it now. But if we're going to have to, it will help us in Phase 3 as well, in Phase 4, having that second entrance and second exit. Where we're looking at it is on the south end of the building, and so it would be a right turn only, right turn in, right turn out only. It's not going to be lighted, but again, that gives us a second traffic flow pattern to get students on and off the campus, especially those that are going to go south on Power Road, which a good number of our students do.
Dr. Wilson, that second entrance would be on the fire building, on the fire building 11 side?
On the south side,
Okay.
towards ASU, and our hope with it, honestly, is that it stays on our land.
Okay, so that would be over here. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. You know what, I do want to make another point. One of the things we talked about when we were out there before is the ability to get a traffic signal at that second entrance. And I know that's always an issue sometimes with municipalities and the like. It may be something we want to investigate a little further. With young people coming in and out, and that kind of, the way that's growing out there, that really might be a good idea.
I think one of the challenge, I agree completely. I think one of the challenges for us is if we had our druthers, we'd rather have a second entrance, second exit, go all the way down to Pecos, and have it be lighted there because it's lit there. That of course crosses ASU's land, and it's a blessing and a curse. You know, the first to the table, you get the best food, but oftentimes you're going to pay more than those that come the second or third. And we're first to the table, and that's exciting. But to go down to Pecos would be an us cost that would be a benefit to whoever comes in afterwards. And I'm not so sure that we want to foot that. But you're right. As we talk with the town of Gilbert, the idea of potentially getting a light on that second entrance on the south side may be a benefit.
Isn't that kind of close to the other one to have
It is.
2 lights?
It is. One of the issues, I think, is the spacing of the lights. I don't know what specifically it is, but there's a certain distance that you have to have, I think, to have.
Well, given the type of street it is, it's
Correct.
probably not going to fly there.
The good thing is that if it's a ride-only in and a ride-only out, that lessens some of that issue. Not the most advantageous situation for us, but lessens some of the concern that you have.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Mrs. Doolin, simulation labs. I saw a sim lab on Dirty Jobs the other day. I'm wondering if ours looks like that.
Well, let's hope ours looks better.
I don't know. That was pretty crazy.
Good evening, President and members of the board. I am coming to you today to talk about the simulation lab update. We have started our process of getting the sim lab ready to go over here on the main campus, and then also have done the plans, the preliminary plans, also for the sim lab out on the Power campus. So just so we're clear, the simulation lab that will be on the main campus will have 4 bays with 2 debrief rooms. It will be larger than the one that is on the Power campus. The simulation lab on Main will mostly be serving EMT, LPN, and CNA, some medical assisting. In the event that our bill passes, it will then also serve RN and paramedic. So those are the players that will be using the sim lab out here on the main campus. When we talk about the sim lab out on the east campus, it's being built a little bit differently to be more multidisciplinary, meaning it won't just be humans that are using that sim lab. We will also set it up to be used by vet tech, vet assist, and potentially vet tech if the association goes through, the associate degree goes through. So that way they will have the ability to do simulation on animals as well as humans in that space, and it will be used by LPN or RN and LPN if we have the ability on that campus, but originally when it opens, it will only be used by CNA, medical assisting, and vet assisting. So that one is only 2 bays. We're doing a job order contract, as we discussed on both of those. Questions? And we like live patients also.
The thing I
Don't
saw,
all of you volunteer at once.
thing I saw in Dirty Jobs, they have a person and they have
Yes.
these modules they put on them, and
Yes.
it's like combat damage.
Yes,
And
we like to do
they
a,
squirt blood, and
Yeah.
everybody was covered.
well, we do a community health sim, and we do it's a mass casualty, so we usually set off a bomb. So if you would like to participate, I'd be happy to put some blood on you and make one of your limbs disappear. Just let us know.
Nice.
You're welcome.
So fun. When's the next?
All right,
Ms.
thank you.
Luke's very familiar with this. Her son was the bomber many times.
When's the next read for the bill? Do we know yet?
So yes,
What bill is that?
I'll touch on the superintendent's report.
Okay.
There, yeah.
All right.
All righty, that brings us to executive session. Board may vote to convene an executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03. And this executive session is to seek legal advice for using the Government Procurement Alliance cooperative contract and job order contracting for constructive services. I think we need to have a motion and a vote to do that, so we need a.
I'll move, we move into executive session.
Second.
Okay. Mrs. Boggs seconded. Ms. Boggs, would you have the vote, please?
Covington?
Aye.
Lane?
Aye?
Fleetum?
Aye.
Luke? Aye. Boggs is an aye. Hart?
Aye.
Watkins?
Aye.
and Hobson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
I guess we will remain where we are.
Yep. glasses on.
Okay. Can you see and hear us, Mr. Hobson, Mr. Watkins?
We can hear just fine.
Same, I can hear you, no, the picture is just making wonderful colors.
Okay. Do we have a problem with our public feed? I hope not.
I don't have a problem as long as I can hear. I know what you guys look like.
Probably better.
Executive session, we blind the video feed.
But they're blinded all the time.
They're blinded, but they can still hear you
Okay.
in the conversations.
They don't want to see us anyway.
No, my point is now that we're back in public session, can the public see?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good question.
So I'm curious why the public can see it, but board members can't.
They can't,
They cannot see this proceeding. They can hear it only.
correct. And so the public also cannot see the proceeding.
No, right now.
They can't-
Right now, during the open meeting,
They can't see you and they can't hear you at this time.
they can't.
Mr. Hobson, Mr. Watkins, are you able to see us?
No, but we can hear you fine.
They can't,
That's
but
the
the public
point.
can.
That's what they're seeing, colors.
It is. Oh.
These will be an LSD.
I'm not even
They
gonna
look
ask how you
nice.
do that.
That's what I've heard. It's
Or
like.
LDS.
I don't know it for a fact.
Okay.
All right.
Probably said it's psychedelic.
There we go, no. Yeah. No, I thought we were.
Now what do you got?
There might be a malfunction with the system that I'll have to troubleshoot.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's try for next meeting to make sure that works, please. All right, we're back in regular session from our executive session. And so we have number 9, action item, possible action regarding contract award for job order contracting. Anyone like to make the motion? I can make the motion if you'd like.
Mark, go for it.
I move that we approve the use of Government Procurement Alliance Cooperative Contract, job order contracting, for awarding the Chase Building Team for construction services to convert existing classrooms into a dedicated simulation lab.
Awesome. I'll second
second.
that. I think Mr. Watkins beat me to the punch.
So now is it a discussion?
Yes, we may discuss it.
So just for clarification, the way the motion is worded, that is only for pre-construction services. That is not for the job that would come from the pre-construction services. Is that correct? We're just only awarding them according to the motion?
I think that, in my mind, that awards them the contract unless something happens in the interim that we become uncomfortable, and at that time, we would make a change. Mr. Calvo?
My understanding is, the way I read this, we're awarding them job order contracting. So we're authorizing them to start, at which point, when they get to a point where they give us a hard number for actual work to be performed, we can decide whether to proceed with further contracting along this process, or we can choose to terminate and go to a competitive bid process, is the way I understand it.
So that would require an additional vote.
If we choose to not continue contracting with Chase Building Team to actually do the building of this, then that would require further action on our part.
Okay.
If when we see their hard numbers, we're okay with their numbers, we can just, everything's
on.
good after this vote tonight, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Any further comment or discussion?
Mr. Lane, I wonder if Kevin could maybe share with us whether or not he has any concern about this particular and it's an important thing that I think the board is driving at, this particular sort of possibility of interdicting the contract when we see the hard number bid. Do you have any concern about the contract that's being let?
I do not, Mr. Hobson.
Okay, I'm good with that.
All right, anything further?
Call the question.
Mrs. Boggs, would you conduct the vote, please?
Absolutely. Covington,
I'm staying.
Lane,
Aye.
Fleetum,
Abstain?
Luke. Aye. Boggs is an aye. Hart,
Aye.
Watkins,
Aye.
and Hobson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All righty, thank you. So that brings us to staff reports, superintendent in specific, Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, I know that we want to get home, so I will make it quick. Just an update on our associate bill, House Bill 2034. Much credit and work needs to go to our lobbyist, as well as to Ms. Doolin, who's out, and Ms. Boggs, who's done a masterful job talking with individuals about our bill. House Bill 2034 passed out of the House Education Committee last week, 7-3. Was in the Rules Committee today and passed the Rules Committee today. And that then puts us in a position at some point in time in the near future to be on the Committee of the Whole. There's still some work that we're trying to do with our partners in the community colleges to make that relationship a little bit more beneficial to all of us. And so, you know, we still have a little bit of work to get done, but we're optimistic that the direction we're heading is a direction that's going to be in the best interest of our students. One of the things that I have come to believe, and probably shouldn't say because we want to get home. One of the things I've come to believe is that at many cases, some of the issues that we're facing are issues that seem to be more focused on protecting institutions and adults than it is helping our learners. And so I'm hoping that we have the ability, and then throughout this session, to make sure that ultimately we're doing and making decisions that are in the best interest of our learners, and we're heading in the right direction. So we're excited about that. Update you, we are doing a quality services survey with our faculty and staff. One of the things the governing board has said previously, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is to make sure that we're surveying our staff in terms of how well we're doing as an organization. We'll disaggregate that data and I'll bring it back to you within the next couple of weeks, but I wanted you to be aware that that was one of the things we are doing this year and again this year. And that's it, unless you have questions of me.
Do we know when it's going to Cal?
No, we don't. I think part of the reason why is that I think Megan wants to talk to the sponsor about some of the language that we are comfortable with adding and see if the sponsor is comfortable with that as well.
Dr. Wilson?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do we have any notion or any information from our lobbyist about what the prospects are in the Senate and also the governor's shop?
So great questions. Yes, there will be some work we have to get done in the Senate as well. One of the things that was really impactful when we went down to the Education Committee, the House Education Committee, was the testimonies that were provided. And our lobbyist believes that there's a couple key pieces to that in the Senate that we'll take advantage of. I think our students that testified were amazing. I think having the ability to hear student voices versus old men voices or old women voices really matters. I also think having our business partners come to the table and talk about the benefit that what we're trying to accomplish would add to their industry made a lot of sense. So we have some work to do, I think, in the Senate, but I think the path that we forged in the House will help that. And I think oftentimes too, because of the magnitude, the number of bills, that oftentimes the success in one kind of helps with the success in the second. And then I think the governor's office is very optimistic. We've been in contact with his education policy advisor on a number of occasions, and this fits very much into some of the initiatives the governor has. I don't know if you all saw it, but I think in the last week, maybe? The governor, there was a press release in which the governor is advocating, expanding opportunities for supporting health, the health care field, so that we can get more individuals in the pipeline sooner rather than later. Which again, this is somewhat exactly what we're doing. So we're very optimistic about his support when we get there.
Great, super, thank you.
Unless you have anything else, that's it for me.
All right. So our next regularly scheduled meeting is on the February 28th. I have 6 p.m. with a 5 p.m. dinner. Does anybody have any issues that you'd like to see included in the next agenda or future agendas?
Mr. Lane, I have surgery scheduled for the 17th, which means 11 days later is the meeting. If I'm too loopy from the meds I'm taking, I may not appear on the 28th, just so you know.
All right,
I'll try to be there, but I also authorize you to tell me to get off the line if you think I am loopy, so.
Thank you, I appreciate that, and we'll hope for the best.
Thank you.
Would there be any difference?
I deserve that. Thank you.
Well, we'll hope everything goes well.
Thank you. I'm going for the Covington cut again, so.
Okay.
Dr. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what the budget's like, but I would like to talk about maybe raising our, you can't hear me? Talk about maybe raising the base.
The base level? Okay.
For cost of living, for staff, teachers, everybody, the world.
I think that, absolutely, and I think that we can begin the process, and we'll start that next time with you, talking about where we're at in our base, competitive, not only, as we've said before, not only competitive to the private sector, but to the public, not to the public sector, but the private sector as well, because we understand that's where our instructors come from, so that we can be in a position to stay competitive in our ability to attract and retain quality staff. So we can start that next meeting as well.
Okay, all right, thanks.
As a reminder, Mr. Lane, Ms. Boggs, and Mr. Fleetham tomorrow morning, correct?
Yes.
And then I would like to
Tomorrow
add one more
evening,
thing,
isn't
if
it?
it's appropriate.
Oh, it's 8 a.m.
If it's appropriate at this time, to add a continued discussion regarding fees for adult learners.
Very good. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
All right, then, Ms. Boggs, will you conduct the vote for adjournment?
How about a motion first, I adjourn?
Motion?
Okay, let's have a motion.
Second.
I motion.
Adjourned, okay. Second, adjourned, okay.
I'll second.
Third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
Discussion, ready? Call for a vote?
Let's do an acclamation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right.
Nice seeing everybody. Have a nice Valentine's evening.
All right.